Hello everyone, welcome to this series of videos about project initiation, and on this fifth video I'm going to talk about the project charter. So, what is the project charter? The charter is a document that is issued by the project initiator or sponsor that formally authorizes the existence of a project and provides the project manager with the authority to apply organizational resources to project activities. Now, what does this mean? It means that basically this is the document that will authorize the beginning or the foundation of the project. And typically, actually, it's also called the project contract. All right, so basically the charter is a contract between the project manager and the client, or the project manager and the institution. And here we set our goals, we set the objectives, and we set our project boundaries. If you're curious about project boundaries, then check the video that I did also in this series. So to create the charter, there's a couple of things that you have to remember. Normally, if you're working in a big organization that does a lot of projects, they probably already have a template to use. Okay, by the way, so if you don't have that case, there's so many templates online that you can find and use for your charter. You just have to find the one that best meets your needs. What I normally do is I go online, I type project charter template, and I type some keywords related to my project, and I normally find some good template that I can adapt and use for my project. So in order to fill this document, you're going to have to meet with your stakeholders, and that can mean your customers or your sponsors. Like I said before, customers, people that are paying you to do the project. Sponsors might be your boss in the company that gave you this project to do. You might also need to meet with subject matter experts, and the subject matter experts is basically someone that knows, well, that is an expert about the type of project you want to do. All right, there's two major categories of subject matter experts. You might have internal experts, okay, people that work in the same organization as you do, but they work in different departments or in different organizations itself inside the company, and you can try to interview them to get more information about how you should plan or create this charter, because they might give you some important clues, especially if you never did the type of project you are trying to do. There's also external subject matter experts. We're talking here about consultants, industry groups, for example. This is also very good sources of information, but be careful so that you don't provide them with confidential information about your project. So what you need to do indeed is, as well, in case you have that in your companies, to meet with the project management office. Some companies that develop a lot of projects will have a department that is specialized in managing all the paperwork. So in case you have that, your work is much easier, because you just have to go to them and ask them for the template for your project charter. And finally, you might need to review the business case. The business case is basically a document that explains what is the benefits, the financial benefits that your project is going to create for your business. I will create in the future a video specifically about business cases, but in case you have it, you should review it, because a lot of the information you need for the charter is there. So what are the elements of a charter? This is a very tough question to answer, because it will really depend on the type of project. But there's a couple of things that indeed must be there, all right? Things like, what is the purpose of the project or the justification? What measurable objectives do you have, or what criteria are you going to measure to see if your project is a success or not? What is your high-level requirements for this project? And I'm going to talk about requirements in the future. What assumptions or constraints might you have? And this comes from the 6 W's we've seen before. What are your project boundaries, and what is your project description? Again, using the tool of 6 W's, you can answer this. What are your high-level risks? Basically is, what risks do you see related to this project? What are the things that overall might make this project unsuccessful? What milestones do you already have planned, if any? What budget do you believe you have? But in this case would just be a very summary budget. For example, what is the budget for the whole project? What is your initial stakeholder list? Who's the project manager? What's his responsibility? How much authority does the project manager has? Who's the sponsor? Who's the client? What are the approval requirements? And obviously all of this will have to be signed by both parties. This is, after all, an official contract. So To summarize, the project charter is an extremely important document because it's what sets the responsibility of the project manager to actually be the project manager. And from that moment on, he is responsible for the success of the project to the best of its abilities. And this is why it's very important, like with any contract, that you are very clear about what are the details of the contract and that you read carefully and you negotiate with your stakeholders all the necessary things that you believe you need for the success of the project. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoy it. And if you have any questions, just drop a comment on the section below.